Sure, abuti ona ke.
We have, it's 2:30, so we have, we have 20 minutes. It's a conversation, one question, one answer, you just indicate. So we'll move it from 14:35 to 14:55. Thanks. You can go.
Thank you, Chairperson, and our colleagues. As you see, the pattern is I've got 20 minutes, so if I interject whilst you answer, please understand it's not out of disrespect, but just because I'd like to maximize on the time that I have. So if I'm satisfied with the response, and then I'll interject sometimes. Uofs, we'll start off mildly for me, Chair. We received, when we went to do the site visit, we received a presentation thing in the car there. So I'm going to start with that just as a matter of interest. On page number 7, this is for Uofs, page number 7, facilities management. Is my understanding correct that for tree pruning, it is a total of 2 people to manage 49 hectares? Is that a correct understanding, or am I reading it differently? UFS? Anybody that feels this? Chair, we pause it.
Yeah, it's a. Yes,
It's the time when they're doing a lot of things.
Yes, Visi.
Just want to determine if you say each page.
Page 7,
Page 7.
7.4 to be specific.
Yeah, it's page
That's
9.
page 9.
Oh, that's, yeah,
Sorry, section 7.
that's what I was looking for.
Section 7, 7.4.
Yeah.
The table there is it 2 personnel for?
I see that, yeah. So, Susan?
Yeah, the explanation is on page 9, it's the table 7.4, and Honourable Sauls referred to tree pruning.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Chairperson, if I can answer. This is correct, but what you have to keep in mind is that many of our processes are automated, and they are only responsible for pruning the trees, and then we even reduced the trees. So they did some scientific calculations when they determine how many manpower is needed to do the work. So they also have gardeners, they also have other staff who assist. So these 2 people are only mainly responsible for the pruning of trees. But if you look at the trees, some of the trees do not need pruning. Thank you.
I think I'm asking I understand that, because there's also a line item for gardening and lawn mowing and so on. So I understand that. So specifically for tree pruning, is it 2 people that prunes trees on 49 hectares?
Chair, yes, it's correct, but you also have to look at the number of trees, and they work it out scientifically to determine how many people are needed to do certain work. And if additional capacity is needed, then they will make use of external service providers if they need additional capacity. But at this stage, it appears if they have sufficient capacity of the existing staff members to assist with the gardening service.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'm just using your information, right? So all the scientific ratio is not mentioned here. So I take it that you then are telling me that indeed there's 2 people, depending on how many trees is on 49 acres. And in the table you are saying that when it comes to the square meters per person, you're saying it's not relevant. 49 hectares is 490,000 square meters. That's over 92 soccer fields. So if I can estimate, whether it's scientifically or not, how many trees is on there and 2 people are responsible for that. That's what you're telling me. So that was quite interesting. And if I read so do you agree?
Yes, it's true. Thank
All
you.
right. So when I look at the fine print there, on the same page, it says 5,000 square meters is the average in the industry per person. 5,000. You have 2 people responsible for 490,000 square meters. But this is what's more interesting. On item 5 on the table, there is 0 people responsible for 0.5 hectares. And the reason why it's 0 people is because you are outsourcing this service. You're outsourcing it. You're paying somebody else for 0.5 hectares, which is 5,000 square meters. Now, in my mind, this is what you are doing. You take 2 people, employ them and pay them. You make them responsible for 92 soccer fields. And then for 5,000 square meters, you outsource somebody to deal with that. Do you consider that fair?
If I may, I think maybe if we can provide more detail regarding the services that are rendered and the capacity that is needed so that you can get a clear picture. So as I said, when we've established the gardening services in the past, it was outsourced. When we insource the workers, we also benchmark with all the other universities. We look at how many people are needed, and based on that, we've appointed the workers, and it appears if we have sufficient capacity. So, but I think I'm not directly involved for the gardening service, but if you may allow me, then I can provide you with additional information so that you can get a full picture of the services that we are rendering and so that you can determine that and also see that we have sufficient capacity for gardening service.
The picture I'm getting, respectfully, ma'am, is that you outsource a smaller portion in comparison to, which is the average is 5,000 square meters. So in other words, based on that average, 1 person is responsible or should be responsible for 5,000 square meters. 1 person. You then, instead of having 1 person responsible for 5,000, you outsource that service. And then for 490,000 square meters, you have 2 people. I'm trying to show you the imbalance, and I'm trying to understand the reasoning that you're paying another company, you have 0 there, and I promise you for what 1 person is supposed to do, if you outsource that service, it's not going to be 1 person that gets paid for square meters that's just for 1 person. That's what I'm trying to get at. Is the point made? Is the point made?
Yes, thank you, Chair.
Then we did the site visit, and now I come from a place called, I'm born in Kliptown, born without electricity, without all the things that we have now. And what changed my life was having different exposure to different things. And maybe this would seem small to you, and that's why I do that background. When we walked in there, I asked the question, I asked, that red couch, is it used? The red couch. Because it's like, it's a small thing for some people. But for me, the reason why it touched me is because those were the couch, not the type of couch, but the couch in that state reminds me of poverty. If you go see the state that couch is in, so I just want to know, in a professional institution, that couch is not supposed to be used anymore, but why is it still used within your institution? Especially for students to sit on. And I'm sure that most of the students come from backgrounds that I come from, so it's no different. They're at university, but it still looks like our shacks. Are we seeking to create a different environment here in the university, or remind us where we come from?
Student services.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the comment is really noted. I'm sure we'll have to relook at it. We will have to, convene with that particular residences and get a sense of why that is still there. It's unfortunate that we did not look at other residences because the facilities we provide to students is not undermining them. But that side, your comment is understandable, and we'll follow it up.
Thank you so much. And just for noting, when I asked the question, the person responsible was very proud to say, yes, we used that couch. Just so you know, the posture for me was very discouraging in what you're trying to create with students, though it's small. Then the newer building is 4 years old. The newer building, Nicholas said it's 4 years old. There's cracks in the wall. I just want to know whether those are superficial cracks or it is structural cracks.
May, we also have university estates that are responsible for the maintenance, and I will take it up with them so that they can also indicate if it's structural only, what the cracks, the severeness of the cracks. So we will also follow up with them. Thank you.
Thank you. And the last one, Kailami residents, the grass was very long. I see you have people doing gardening and lawn mowing and so on. When I asked Nicholas, the grass, so long, Nicholas said, oh, it's just because people are writing tests now. Is that the official response?
I think it's a state, but I think I can respond. I don't think that's an official response. Actually, it's an irresponsible response because we're supposed to cut the grass. We're supposed to create an experience for students that would be more fulfilling. And I had a chat with the visitors. I mean, we also did not enjoy the site. Grasses are being cut here, and it should be cut. When people are not doing their work, we will then follow it up, Chair.
Thank you, sir. We're going to go a little bit faster now. IF, on your responsibility to advise the council on transformation and the policy around that, especially I want to zoom into the racial equality. When you advise the council, how do you describe which race groups falls under African?
Thank you very much, Chair, and thanks for the question. What we normally do, we look at the equity targets of the institution based on the guideline that the neighborhood want. Also, receiving the information from Human Resources Department. Thank you.
Which race groups do you advise is African?
Thank you very much, Chair. When we look at the African race, we look at South Africans, black South Africans. Thank you.
Black South Africans?
Yes.
Does that include coloreds, Indians?
Yes.
So when I read the term African in your policy, I'm supposed to interpret it to include coloreds and Indians.
Can I respond, please? I think there's only a misunderstanding. We are using the categories as prescribed by the Department of Labor. African is only black. Black Africans, South African citizens. Black includes colored, Indian, and African. African is only black South Africans. So I think it's only a misunderstanding.
Put another way, in terms of policy of this institution, coloreds and Indians are not considered African.
Chair, we use the categories. As I said, African is black South Africans. And then black, then we combine colored, Indian, and African.
Okay, so in other words, when we say black, it includes black, colored, and Indian.
That's correct.
Now I'm asking, when we say African, do we include colored and Indian.
No, Chair.
So coloreds and Indian are not considered African. All right. I see that there is Uofs again. There is for foreign nationals, the staff complement for foreign nationals, which countries are the foreign nationals, which nationality are the foreign nationals, and also the posts that they occupy. Is it scarce skills?
Can I answer the question, please? We do have approximately 147 international or foreign staff members, and the positions that are linked to is the majority is academic or researchers, and if they're in support services, the positions that they hold is for specialized positions. And when we appoint them, they must be in possession of a valid work permit, and that can only be appointed on a contract basis, and which is linked to the valid work permit. And part of their employment is that there must also be transition of skills. So if their contract expires, that there was a transition of skills to existing employees. Thank you.
Okay, so in simple terms, there is no South African that can do that job.
Can I answer again, Chair? Yes, normally what we do, and the Department of Labour also requires that they will only issue a work permit, a valid work permit for a foreigner, if we can prove that we couldn't find any suitable South African citizen to fill the position. Thank you.
All right. Because of time, I'm going to skip the which nationalities there are exactly. How many minutes do I have?
4, yeah.
I've got 4 minutes left. Out of the 415,885 applications that was made, how many colored and Indians applied? And the reason why I'm asking for how many applied is because I saw how many was accepted. So I want to understand, I want to do a cross-referencing with how many applied, how many was accepted, and then please also tell me what was the causes for 4% and 1% respectively being accepted out of 415,000 applications. How many were colored and Indian? And out of the total applications, how many of them were colored and Indian?
Through your chair, thank you, Chair. Unfortunately, we didn't do that analysis on this particular presentation, Chair. So we can collect that information and present to the committee members.
Thank you so much. That will help because it will help us understand because what you do report on, the 4% and the 1% gives the impression that, there's only 4% of colored people that applied, and 1% of Indians that applied. But if we are able to see the total number of applications, then you can tell us why you only took 4% of coloreds and why you only took 1% of Indians. That's the rationale.
Okay. Through your chair again, on that particular slide, the one on 1%, 4%, and 9% white, those are currently registered students, not necessarily the student that applied.
That's exactly what I said. So. The point is exactly the fact that that's not the students that has applied. The students that has applied is 415,000.
Yes.
Correct? So I'm asking for how many out of those total that has applied, how many of them? Yes. Then I cross-reference and I'll be able to say, out of that you took 4% and 1%. Why? What was the causes? Did they not qualify, or was it again chosen based on the racial ratio and test the fairness thereof? Okay, 1 minute left. Let me ask you this way. There is a total complement. It's not stated in the presentation, but I just did the calculation, and I would ask for a very honest answer. And just so you know our reasoning, our belief is transformation of blacks with white. When I see the numbers of black staff and how it's increased, we celebrate that, black African. But transformation should be a balance of all races to reflect our country. Whites, Indians, and black. Because we view them and everyone as Africans. So I'm going to ask this question, and I want a direct answer. When you see 3,493 total staff, 36 out of 3,493 is Indian, 301 is colored. Do you consider, can I safely say, that coloreds and Indians are still being marginalized? Thank you, Chair.
Can I answer? I think what we can agree on is that transformation is an ongoing process and that we still have to improve a lot. And you're 100% correct if you look at certain race groups and even based on race, even on disabilities, that we still have to make lots of progress. And what Jeanette from the IF also indicated is that when we advertise a position, we will also prioritize and give preference to certain groups, but it is at this stage still a challenge to find suitable candidates for certain positions. But we are working on that, and we can still make lots of progress in that regard. Thank you.
Sorry, Chair. Please, just on that, just for the record, I would want to disagree, because if you say that you are struggling to find suitable candidates, the impression you are giving is that the reason why those numbers are like that, because you can't find suitable Indian and colored people for these posts. I would like to state for the record that that should not be the case. That's not the impression we should give. Let's take accountability, let's take responsibility and say, this is not enough, we must do more, and we are going to intentionally do more. There is a large pool of colored and Indian professionals that can play a role in our institutions of higher learning.
Noted. Thank you, Chair.
Chair of Council and VC, let's WhatsApp each other. We did say that the venue is quite small, so if you are conversing, you see, when she was responding, we missed certain things that she said because of what you're saying. Yeah, hold on.
Just share what it was. I was checking.
No, hold on. We will give you a chance. What is support staff? When you say somebody support staff member, so what is it that they do?
It depends on the nature of the work. So we do have administrative staff that are mainly responsible for financial administration or human resources or office administration. But then we also have a component where they are specialized, like programmers, auditors, industrial psychologists, librarians. So in support services, we have the generic, but then also specialists.
Okay. So with what Honorable Sauls was saying, what you are saying is that the 26 support staff members who are foreign national are specialized. It's all 26 of them are specialized.
That's correct. You will see we have two on the lower levels that are actually performing generic duties and responsibilities. We have two foreign nationals that are appointed in administrative roles.
So, and then to answer his question, those two, you are saying there was no South African to do those two that are generic.
If I can answer that question maybe I can explain to you. We will advertise the position, and we will receive applications, and if we can't, with the applications, and we do a short listing for the position, and we couldn't find a South African citizen, then we will re-advertise again. Then only after the second round, we will proceed with the appointment process. And then before the appointment, we will also engage with the Department of Labour. And the practice is that they will also provide us with CVs of candidates who can be considered. So we went through that process and we couldn't find a candidate for that 2 vacant positions.
Okay, so, but you said to his answer that all the posts, correct, all the posts that are done by or that have been appointed, you have appointed foreign nationals. And just for the record, we don't have anything against foreign nationals. We just need to put it clear. But you said all those posts are specialized. There was no South African who could do those tasks that are given to these colleagues of ours. Now you are saying these 2, there are South Africans who can do it, it's just that they did not have interest in coming to work at the University of Free State.
It's two-folded. Maybe there are suitable candidates, South African citizens who didn't apply, but the people who applied didn't meet the inherent requirements, and those 2 positions are on a lower level. And out of my mind, I can recall that the one is employed at sign languages. So they require from that person to be able to use sign language. And I think that maybe you can also justify as a specialized skill. And the other one is also at humanities, which is also an administrative officer, but they require from that person to speak Dutch and Afrikaans. So, and I think that also makes it difficult to find a suitable South African citizen to fill the position.
I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Sign language, a specialized skill.
That is not South African.
Please, out of respect, we are, the posture of our committee is simple transparency with the attitude of, if something is not correct, then we all work together to fix it. This is our country. When we speak about white people, for example, my position is, and some of my colleagues would disagree, that white people are Africans. Afrikaners are Africans. The reason why I don't speak about that is because I see that the ratio in comparison to coloreds and Indians, you still have more white people, which is not a problem. Having black people, black African people, still not a problem. It is South Africans. But there's no balance when it comes to coloreds and Indians. So look at that posture. That's the type of transformation we're pushing. Now when we come to the foreign nationals, again, we've got nothing against our foreign national brothers and sisters. But the questioning is around, our law requires that if you're going to deny a South African a position and you give it to a foreign national, legal foreign national, it has to be a scarce skill. When you mention sign language as a scarce skill, you are implying there's no one in South Africa that can do that. Ma'am, is that what you are saying to us?
Jay, I think I tried to explain why it's on a lower level, why we do have 2 foreign national staff members. So that's the reason why they consider that. So, but you are 100% correct. At the Uofs, we only consider foreign national individuals if we can't find any South African citizen to fill that position. And we also work closely with the Department of Labour.
So for the record, are you withdrawing, stating on the record that sign language is a scarce skill?
No, Jay. We also use the criteria that is compiled by the Department of Labour, where they specify specific job disciplines and fields that it is scarce skills. I only tried to explain that that's maybe the reason why the person on a lower level is a foreign national.
Are you saying that sign language is a scarce skill?
No, sir.
Chair of Council, you wanted to clarify something?
Chair, firstly, apologies for the interference. The piece I wanted to clarify was really in the interpretation of the detail. Firstly, on the issue of the scarce skills, I think the presenter could not mention that when you say scarce skills, you're talking about scarce skills that is available. I'd say if I have in the country 1,000 engineers and I'm looking for an engineer, they're all taken. They are not available to me at the time, and that's in practice, that's how it's applied. Until there's the 1,001 engineers, that means the one engineer will likely come from foreign. Until there's another engineer that will be available, then they become available to me. Either they graduated or they've resigned from other duties. So I think what I was expecting to be explained properly is practical implementation of this issue of scarce skills. It must be available, and the skill must be willing to relocate from wherever they are to Bloemfontein. Those are the practical elements that we deal with here, and we deal with this all the time with professional search of skills. Location is a big issue, and we struggle with locating individuals to Bloemfontein to an extent that you can ask some of our professors. Some of them live in Johannesburg, others live in Pretoria, and they travel, which has added cost to it. So I'm not differing with the definition of scarce skills. I'm adding the implementation part of it, which should be taken into consideration. So I'm requesting that be taken into consideration, not just the definition of scarce skills.
Yeah, you are creating a problem for yourselves. So you are saying to us, with what you've just said, 141 academic staff who are lecturers, senior lecturers, and all of that. If we were to say to you, give us the application box of those who had applied, maybe the last 3 adverts you had of lecturers, you are saying we're not going to find South Africans who applied there. Because if they apply, it means they know that the lecturing will happen in the Free State, in the University of Free State, which is either in Kwakwa, Bloemfontein, or South. So when they apply, it means they're willing to relocate. So are you saying to me, if we were to ask you, give us these boxes of these applications, we're not going to get South Africans who were not hired, and our brothers and sisters in the diaspora were considered. That's what you're saying to us.
Correct. I'm making that assumption. That is the practical way to make that assumption.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. You see, that's what I was saying. You're making things difficult for yourselves. Because you're going to assume. Because we can run a poll now and ask us if you work.
Now, that was the University of the Free State oversight visit from the members of parliament happening on the 25th of March 2025, where we find members which own Biza, or better as Ashley Sauls. Then again, continue to press onto some of the pressing matters of how certain other people are excluded. And this is also very, very important, because we must always remember that situations like this, we find that a lot of the times certain kids, certain demographics are actually excluded. And such questions need to be continued being pressed, because they actually do determine the work of members of parliament, and especially those who we vote for, knowing exactly what they promise in the actual manifestos leading to elections. So now that they are in positions to ask these questions, in positions to actually be there and actually fight for us, make sure that all people across all demographics of South Africa are actually included, are actually catered for. And this is also very, very important because we live in a country that is meant to be diverse. So very, very interesting to what the member had said, actually Sauls. So to also make sure that all other universities, knowing that oversight visits will also be coming to them as well at different times, they will also make sure that they are ready for such questions because they will be asked. And knowing that the question is coming doesn't also equate to having the ability to change it in time, because at the end of the day, actions need to be there to change this and make sure that all people are actually included in whether it's school, whether it's lecturers that are hired. Because also we try to walk away from this thing of foreign nationals benefiting over people of this country. A lot of people are sitting at home jobless, but then at times you find that they get hired without bringing critical skills. And also the honorable member Ashley Sauls here asking and pressing on questions like, is sign language a scarce skill? It's also very, very important because I do not believe that sign language is a scarce skill. But our government, they do not take the people seriously. That is then when such things do happen. And it is totally, totally wrong. But in the long run, let's then do hope that it will be the last time that it's happening. Because I don't know about you, but just within a perimeter of 5-meter walk from where I live, already there are 2 people of sign language. So just imagine how many are they across South Africa, and then how many are they that are educated to go and do that. Well, that could have just gotten slighter training to be able to get into that. So some of these questions are highly, highly important, and are actually the questions that need to be asked, because to have a country that is going to be diverse, that is going to include all races, that is going to be for everybody, in the long run, have to then start asking serious questions and not just asking the questions that just make it for gossip and fun on the internet, but actually real questions that actually real South Africans want to hear out, because they would like their lives changed and to be included in the plans of the country, to be included in the plans of the government, and not excluded as if they are some outcasts, outsiders, which they are not. All South Africans need to come first before foreigners, and then foreigners will only get it where there is scarce skill that is not there from anybody else in South Africa. So that one is also very, very, very important. But then again, I guess some of these questions, I hope you did too, and in future we hope we can hear them actually answer this differently, and proving that that which is being plowed now will actually come into tuition, because then they'll say that since we were asked such questions and we couldn't answer with confidence, today we come back maybe a year later saying that 100% South Africans, then if there's any foreign nationals, this is this scarce skill that they bring. And the Department of Labor is there to verify that, okay, yeah, indeed, this is just how scarce the skill is, and that we approved it saying this is the only person you could get coming from foreign influence, foreign national. So these are very, very serious conversations, South Africans, that we also need to take into consideration. Otherwise, keep engaging, keep listening to the common things that are happening in and out of the country, as this is our country and we need to take charge of it and actually understand some of the things that are happening. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't bother. Always know that also cement fast, and we'll continue to push for one thing, which is abahambe. Please do like, subscribe, and share the video with your loved ones.
Nothing. Sure, I would do honestly.